Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to Wingate Solutions. I hope you're doing well. Today's video, we're going to be talking about training. All right, let's get into it. Okay, some of you guys that have been watching my channel for a little bit now, and specifically those of you that actually watch some of my videos all the way through, that's you. You're awesome. I really appreciate you. But like I understand a lot of people just kind of click on a video, they watch it for a couple minutes, and then they click off of it because we just like to scroll. As modern day humans, we don't actually put a lot of time into one specific thing. So I get it. Plus my content's not, it's not that appealing to a lot of people. So I understand. So the couple of you guys that actually watch all the way through, you're awesome. But where I'm getting with that is I usually end my videos with a saying, and it kind of just started randomly. I didn't really put much planning into it or like thought into it of what I wanted my videos to end with. It just kind of turned into a saying that I have for my channel, and it's something along these lines, right? All right, guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, get out and train. Okay, so that get out and train part, that last part, that's kind of the saying I was talking about. It's kind of corny, it's kind of random, but I truly do believe that as Americans, we should be, if we intend to be protectors of those around us, we should be out and we should be training. We should be building community of like-minded people, and we should be very competent on the tools that we buy, right? And that's kind of just as simple as it gets. I'm all about the Second Amendment. I'm all about firearms. I'm all about it as a hobby and as a way to relieve stress, a way to hang out with the guys and just have fun shooting guns. That's awesome. I love the freedom of being able to have these tools. But I think there's a lot of responsibility with that, and we should be competent, especially, like I said, if we intend to actually be protectors of those around us. There's a lot of responsibility in carrying a gun or intending to maybe use a gun like this someday for whatever reason, right? Whatever we can think of that we may have to defend our public, our family, loved ones around us, or even our nation, right? I think the mindset of having better trained, more competent people with this sort of thing, to me, it just makes sense. We're Americans. Looking at the history of our country, looking at the history of a lot of the world, we should be better trained in using these tools in a defensive nature. It just makes sense. Like the writing's on the wall. We should be able to protect those around us. That's kind of my mindset on this, but that's why I say get out and train. I want to empower guys to actually remember that it's not just about buying another rifle. We need to actually know how to use the ones we have, right? Collecting guns is cool. Having a bunch of different platforms is cool, but we need to actually be competent with them if you intend to be taken serious in any way, shape, or fashion. You want to be an asset, not a liability. But the truth is, a lot of people are liabilities. They just don't realize it because they're not honest with themselves. And they also are just not around people that train. So they have no idea what the standard is for even being competent on that specific tool. And that's just the reality of it. So any way that I can kind of teach people or kind of inspire people to actually train, build a community of like-minded individuals, that sort of thing. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to get out of this channel. And I also use it to passively market my business. So this is a good time to do that, right? So Wingate Solutions, LLC, you guys can check us out, link down in the description. My wife and I, well, it's my LLC. My wife does all the sewing. We have a kind of a mini tactical gear company, right? So we do 2-point minimalist rifle slings and also sling retention straps. As you can see here, it stows the sling on the rifle, make everything in-house with mil-spec components. And it's just something I started as a little hobby business. And the idea is that this channel can kind of help market that. It's kind of low key. It's my side job, but I have some plans for it to grow in the future. So if you guys support us that way, awesome. If you like this content at all, I'm definitely inspired when I see some growth with the channel. So go ahead and give me a follow, subscribe, do those cool things, hit that thumbs up icon, and comment down below. I enjoy any feedback you have, and think about sharing it with your buddies if it's something they're into. But my sling retention strap's pretty cool. You just pull on this elastic, the sling falls free. I can then swim into it however I would, whether it's like this or more of a combat necklace, your style of choice. But I can swim into my 2-point minimalist freedom sling and get to work. So that's just one of the things that we make, or two of the things that we make rather, with our little small business. So if you guys want to support us, check us out. If not, no big deal. If you have your personal sling company that you like, you already bought into, no need to jump ship. But if you're looking for a good American-made sling manufacturer, you want to try us out, check it out. I really appreciate it. So with that out of the way, again, I appreciate you guys. I say shameless plug, but Wingate Solutions is kind of obvious channel name. It's kind of my business name. I do this for fun mostly, but if I could turn it into a way to actually feed my family and actually make a little bit of money, that's what I would like it to get to eventually. Some of you guys know I'm full-time law enforcement, so that's my main job. That's why sometimes the channel gets put on the back burner as far as how much content I can put out, just because I'm pretty busy. Like I said, full-time law enforcement. I'm in a very rural community now. Spend most of my career rather, in a medium-sized city area. So I have the kind of appreciation for like high traffic, high volume, high crime rate area, and rural, like God's country, almost nothing bad happens, rural countryside type of county. And I can kind of see pros and cons of both. And the training aspect for the rural counties, the honest thing is that most lower funded departments, counties, agencies just don't get the training time they need. So if you guys are law enforcement officers, don't let that stop you from being competent. I see it time and time again, the amount of people that don't even get paid to carry a gun for a living. There are people that just take seriously the idea of protecting their loved ones. Sometimes oftentimes, those people train a lot more on their own with 100% of their own money than a lot of guys that get paid to carry a gun. And that's the honest truth. And I think it's a disgrace. I think if you carry a gun for a living, you should appreciate the responsibility that you have, the people that you get to protect, and the people in your community that actually expect you to show up and be competent with the tools on your belt or the tools that you sling over your shoulder. You need to be squared away. Even if you don't have the funding, you need to find it, right? Put the time in on your own. Like I might have said either in, earlier today, I'm kind of filming a few things for you guys, or in earlier content. I was mostly self-taught before I got into this profession. I put a lot of time in a lot of my own money and time in before I got into law enforcement, and I didn't know everything at all. But I had a good baseline understanding of the platforms I was running, and that really helped out when I got professional training and instruction on the job. And a lot of the things that I was learning over the years started to make sense, and then I could better weed through some of the stuff that was snake oil that maybe I learned earlier on. So if you guys are going to learn on your own, use online. YouTube can be great. It also has a lot of garbage, a lot of BS, a lot of snake oil type training that you need to just kind of find an eye to weed through. But as long as you kind of stick to things that are industry standard and you stick to simple, foundational things, like just learning how to manipulate the gun and its controls, whether it's handgun or rifle, learn those things from guys that seem competent, kind of vet them, look into them. Just because they did something cool at one point in time also doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. That's the honest truth too. You'll have to kind of just figure it out, but use resources you have in front of you, like YouTube, like friends and family that are into this sort of thing, and start to build training into your mindset so that when you do get actual training, you're kind of ahead of the game, and you can then vet the things you know and or recognize that you might have been doing something wrong. But you need exposure, you need a baseline. That makes sense to you guys. So I want to empower guys to get more training, to be better equipped, and be those better protectors that we all want to be, right? So I talk about sometimes you're never going to rise to the occasion. And that's something that a lot of younger guys have, that facade, or it's just false sense of mentality that they think they're going to rise to the occasion. They have some kind of superhero complex, and in their brain they probably fantasize about doing really cool things in the moment because they've watched a lot of action movies. But the reality of it is, you're going to fall back on your level of training. You're going to fall back on your proficiencies or inefficiencies of said skill set. So if you don't put the time into the rifle, but you intend to use it in the heat of the moment, you might get through, but there's a high probability that anything happens that's outside of your comfort zone, is going to throw you for a loop and you're going to, you know, mess the bed. So you're not going to rise to the occasion. That's luck. We don't do things based on luck. We don't use hope as a strategy. We need to use actual skill sets, training as a strategy, right? There's one more thing I want to talk about real quick, and I'll try to keep it simple, and I'll get a little more like lost in the weeds on this concept in other videos, but I know this one's getting a little bit lengthy already. So there's a new opportunity that I got through the channel, and that's working with a nonprofit organization, and it's the Task Force 70 Foundation. Okay. So those guys reached out to me about being an influencer partner. And it's not something I normally would want to get into, but it just happens to be that this foundation is like right up my alley as far as being like about the things that I'm about, right? So the Task Force 70 Foundation, it is a nonprofit, not government funded at all, that their sole purpose is to bring training to underfunded, low population dense area law enforcement officers. So those guys that just don't have a lot of training opportunities, they're in a very small area or department, or they're on the road all the time and don't have the manpower to be able to go away to trainings. This foundation is going to be trying to make that a lot easier, bring training to them, bring guys out to their facilities that they're trying to create that are going to take some of the burden off of those departments or those individual officers who don't make a lot of money as it is. And people don't realize that a lot of guys that work rurally in law enforcement barely make any money. You can make more money working at a gas station sometimes, which is crazy. And I understand it. Some of you guys might not be big, like pro law enforcement guys. I'm like, I get it. I understand there's a big cultural divide between a lot of people in this country. And I'm not the bootlicking type of guy either. I understand there's problems on both sides of that fence. Like just blanket supporting law enforcement for everything they do is a problem. But also hating on guys because they wear a badge, like that's silly. You really got to check yourself and see what kind of person you are at the end of the day if like you have that much animosity towards guys just because of their profession, because it's silly. Like it's kind of ridiculous. I understand you might have bad interactions or bad experiences with law enforcement, or you might come from an area that culturally doesn't like law enforcement. Like I get it. I understand. I have the opportunity to like see different areas, being that most of my career I was in a very like heavy populated city environment that had a lot of crime, high population density, and I got to see a lot of different things in that environment. I also had a ridiculous amount of training opportunities down there, and I'm very grateful for it, and it was awesome. Last couple of years, I've been in a very, very rural environment in PA. So I went somewhere from like almost 500,000 people in my area to now my whole county has less than 6,000 people in it, which is crazy. Like, let that sink in. There's a lot of little boroughs and municipalities that are like way more people than that. My whole county is less than 6,000 people, and I love it. It's awesome. But I have an appreciation from both sides now, and I can absolutely understand that there's a lacking of funds for a lot of these departments. So to have a nonprofit that's specializing in kind of filling that hole and recognizing that guys need training, because I think even if you don't like law enforcement, we all should be able to agree that defunding the police is not the answer. Like, why would we want less competent, less qualified, less trained people to be wearing a badge and a gun? Like, we want people that actually are squared away and know what they're doing and have a lot of training, so that they make better decisions and aren't going to do things that are wrong and aren't going to violate people's constitutional rights, right? So we want training. We should. But I understand there's not a lot of tax base for that in certain areas. Like my area, we don't have a high tax base as it is. So it's a challenge to get extra funding for things. Now, you know, it still comes down to individual guys. Like I'm big on personal accountability. Like I don't care that we don't have a lot of funding. We're still going to train. We might have to do a lot more in-house. We might have to do a lot of like finagling to get training, but there's no excuse not to be well-trained in the areas that you have control over. But something like this foundation, they're going to be adding more specialized training for guys, like a lot of tactical training, marksmanship type training, constitution-based training, which I think is cool. That's the thing I'm most excited about. I think that's awesome that these guys are like I said, right up my alley as far as being like very similar mindset to me. So I'm hoping it works out that we can kind of, I can help build their foundation by being an influencer to you guys in regards to them, but also like there's the fact that like it helps build like my mindset to be part of something that I actually care about, rather than like push something on here like an ad or a sponsor that's like completely irrelevant to me, which I get. Guys do YouTube as like their main revenue stream. I understand, like, you got to feed the kids, so having a paid ad, it's just is what it is. Like, guys that get offended by that, like, I don't really get that either. If somebody needs to take an ad for a video to feed their family, like, just watch the ad or skip through it. It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, I don't want to get lost track. I don't want to lose track on that. But I'm excited to be part of something that I'm actually passionate about. That's right up my alley of training. So I thought that was kind of cool. Kind of went a little bit hand in hand with this video. But if you guys want to check out the Task Force 70 Foundation, I'll kind of throw it down here somewhere across the screen. I'll throw it in the description as well. And here's kind of the meat and potatoes of it. Like I said, I'll get more into it. They are 100% nonprofit, but they are looking for donors. So if you're already having trouble paying your bills, like, I get it. We're all there. We all kind of understand it's not a good time to have, like, not a good time in this country. Things are expensive. There's not a lot of free money laying around for us. But if you do have like an extra $20 a month, they are looking for $20 a month donations. They'll kind of set you up for a subscription service that then allows you to win monthly raffles, which is kind of cool. Like, BCM is sponsoring them, Blue Force Gear, there's a few other ones I can't think of off the top of my head. But like, if you want an opportunity to win a BCM rifle, this might be your opportunity. It's kind of cool. Being that the foundation is still small, it's still young, it's still growing, now is probably a better time than ever. But I understand the raffle side of it, the donors, the sponsorships are probably going to continue to grow. So the opportunity to win some cool things on like a monthly basis, that's kind of where the pro comes for you if you want to be a donor. Also, you can actually kind of, in a way, and I'm not too familiar with it yet, but have a say or like a sponsorship with your donation to try to sponsor like guys in your individual area that you think need the training or need a certain level of specialized training, and you want to put that funding directly towards them. That's something you can do through their website as well. So it's pretty cool. If you guys use my code, which I've never done this, honestly, I've never had like an influencer type deal or anything like that for another channel. This is the first time I've ever done it. If you guys use my code Windgate, then that'll set you up to show them that it came from me. And then the way it works is I get like a little bit of a kickback from it, as far as I know, a couple percent. And I don't really care about that side of it. I care more about just seeing if I actually help them grow, because I'm passionate about what they're doing. But just so you guys understand the transparency there is a little bit of a kickback to me based on that donation, which, is what it is. Like, I don't really know how I feel about it yet, but I really like what they're doing. So anyway, guys, check them out. Task Force 70 Foundation. If it's something that's up your alley, maybe even if you don't have a couple bucks to spend, not a big deal. Maybe you know somebody else that does, somebody that wants to donate a little bit of money towards a good cause that I'm really all about. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. So check out the website, WingateSolutionsLLC.com. If you want to look at any of our stuff that we make, kind of as I told you guys earlier, small business. And I appreciate you guys. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up, like button, share with your buddies, do all that cool stuff. Until next time, get out and train.